Hi guys, I wanted to give a little bit of a word about Purim, but before that, I want to just mention you guys have the Alumni Shabbaton coming up, and I can tell you that when I was a Bacher in YU after Yeshiva, and it's not always so easy. You have Nefilas, you have whatever, and it's not so easy to be in America in general, and YU also, even though it's a great place, but it's still not so easy. I just want to let you know that when I was in your situation that you're in right now, the Shabbaton was the highlight of the year. I used to love going to it. I would look forward to it all year, and it would really give me chizuk to be able to continue and to really reconnect to my Rabbanim and to Stam in general, to the Ruchnius of Judaism. And I think everybody should go, and has the ability to, should really push themselves to go. It's really a kedai for yourselves, and you should also know that when you go, you can let chizuk to the Rabbanim also. In addition to the chizuk that you get for yourself, you're also giving to others, so it's a win-win situation for everybody. Highly recommend it. Sign up if you haven't done so already. Now in terms of Purim, so Mori Rebbe of Yaakov Katz Shlita, he asks several questions about Purim. He talked about a great length. We'll try to do it a little bit shortly. One thing he asked was, what is this Indian of Simcha? We know that Nichlas Adar Marvim Simcha. It's a special idea of Simcha and Purim. Why all of a sudden what is the unique idea here of Simcha? Number two, we know that there's minhag in Klal Yisrael to dress up on Purim. I'm not sure exactly what the makar is, but still, minhag Yisrael Torah. So what's going on here with this minhag of dressing up? What does it have to do with Purim? We just all of a sudden on Purim we decided to dress up. So, when Katz explained, in general, a person has to think about how is it possible in general for a person to be b'simcha at all. We know that kids, young kids, they don't have, they're very much usually, it's normal for a young kid to be b'simcha. It's normal for a kid, in fact, if you see a kid who's not b'simcha, that's already not so good. But you know, usually regular kids, they're b'simcha. It's when you get older, start becoming older, then all of a sudden people start getting, they're not as much happy. At least they don't show their happiness as much. In general, they're not as happy as children are. What's the difference? What happens? So the answer is that the child doesn't have worries. The child doesn't have anything to worry about. He has his parents taking care of him. Everything is set up in his life. If you have a kid who went through a tragedy, so then they can become a little bit more sad. But if, generally speaking, your child doesn't have not yet come into contact with tragedies, not yet come into contact with, you know, what we call bad things happening. And so therefore the child is happy, he doesn't have any worries that are weighing him down. As opposed to the adult, the older you get, the more things are weighing you down. You're worried about parnasa, you're worried about sicknesses, you're worried about if you're in the stage of shidduchim or not shidduchim, if you have children, you're worried about children. It doesn't end, the worries never end. So many things could happen, chas v'shalom, so many things wrong could happen. We're always worried, and that's what causes us to be not happy. Says Rav Katz, really the truth is that that's true, that's a true approach. A true approach to life is really to be very worried. Unless the person has emunah. If a person has emunah and a Kadosh Baruch Hu, so then he knows that everything is coming from a Kadosh Baruch Hu and everything is coming for the best. And even though it will be painful, there could be things that will be painful, but there's nothing to worry about. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be for my best. So yeah, there might be pain, and yes, life isn't necessarily so passionate, and there are times to cry, and there are times to be happy, there are times of joy. But at the same time, even in the times of sorrow, I still have the knowledge that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is behind me, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is helping me. And that's really the only way a person can be happy, a person can be sameach, a real simcha, in this world. So Katz explained that that's also the whole idea of Purim. And we all know the whole word of the Megillah. If you look at the Megillah, that's where we have to start from the beginning. It's Machlokas in the Gemara. Where do you have to start the reading of the Megillah on Purim? We paskin that you have to start from the very beginning. And the reason why you have to start from the beginning is because from the beginning is where you see how the whole picture develops as it goes along, as it goes in this big process. From the very beginning, our very enemies in the very beginning are the ones who are constructing for us the Yeshua. Haman is the biggest antagonist in the story. He's the one who's trying to get the Jews, and he's the one who installs Esther into the Malchus. He's the one who prepares the Yeshua for us in advance. And even, we see it even more so in the end, where he prepares the tree that he himself is hung on. He's the whole time working for our redemption, for our salvation. It's true that we're scared of him, and the Jews cry out, and they're availous in the beginning, but really, Haman, at the same time that he's seemingly against us, he's actually for us. And what does that show us? This is what the Yidden, the Jews, understood on Purim. They saw that even the people that are scaring us, even the people that are against us, even our enemies, they're just shlichim from Hashem. They're just the messengers of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. If they're the messengers of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, then there's nothing to be scared of. And that's why you can get to the ultimate simcha only on Purim, dafka on Purim. You can get to the ultimate simcha. Because in Purim is when you learn the lesson that even when things are looking like there's people against me, and there's something is against me, something's bad happening to me, but you realize, no, this is actually a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And this is actually the whole concept of a mask. Let's say a person, you have a child, a younger kid, and he has an older brother. Yeshiva Bachar, and the Yeshiva Bachar wears this mask. And the mask could be a little scary. He puts on a little bit of a scary mask on Purim. And all of a sudden the younger brother sees him and he gets scared. He's nifal, he gets scared. What is this monster in the house? He might even start crying. But then his older brother just peeks behind the mask and he says, Yankele, it's me. It's your older brother, it's me. So right away the brother will be near God. The younger brother, he calms down. He maybe even starts to laugh. He maybe even will crack a smile and be, he's shalem with it. And then after that, even when the older brother is wearing the mask and he's not looking from behind the mask, he's wearing the mask. So then even then the younger child, he's not going to be scared anymore. He's going to be happy, he's going to be laughing, he's going to be even hugging this kiviyachol, this monster. What's the pshat? The pshat is that he knows that this is not really a monster, it's actually his older brother. So he's not scared. This is exactly the whole concept over here. On Purim, we see an enemy. The enemy is Haman. So the enemy is scary. We're scared. We're going to the streets and we're crying to Hashem. But when Hashem revealed to us that really it's him behind Haman, it's really him behind the mask. He peeked out from us. When did he peek out? He peeked out for us on Purim. When everything worked together, everything all of a sudden came together, and the Jews saw this amazing picture of history of the last year unfolding before their eyes, and they saw how Haman himself is the one who causes the salvation itself, like we said before. So they saw that it's really Kadosh Baruch Hu behind the mask. They saw that it's Hashem peeking out from behind the mask, showing them his face, showing them it's really me, it's just me the whole time, it's just me. And so then, we can be simple, we can be happy, just like this younger child is. Okay, it's explained also that that's the whole word of Adel Yada. Adel Yada means that a person has to get to the point where you can actually understand that just like Mordechai is Baruch, why is he Baruch? Because he does what Hashem wants. He does what Hashem, he fulfills what Hashem desires in this world. He's a shliach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. So too, in the same level, and just on a deeper plane, Haman is also just a shliach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Haman is also just another messenger of Hashem, doing what Hashem wants in the world. It's true that he chose wrong and he's going to be punished for what he chose wrong, etc., etc. But in terms of the Jews, in terms of the Jews seeing what's going on here, in terms of things affecting us, really Haman is the same as Mordechai in terms of him being just a shliach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, coming to produce the salvation of Klal Yisrael. And it's this lesson that we're supposed to take from Purim and take with us, try to really internalize it during the Adel Yada, and try to get to that level where we can really feel that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the total power in this world, Eino Milvado, and take that with us for all the rest of our life, for all the rest of the year and all the rest of our lives.